I want to show you the difference between a net worth and a life worth. On the left, you see my monthly bank statement. It says I am a millionaire. It says I am secure. It says I won the game of capitalism. On the right, you see a postcard. It cost 50 cents. It smells like old paper and salt water. It was sent to me 2 years ago by my younger brother, Robert. At the time he sent this, Robert had about $40 to his name. He had no health insurance. He had no 401k. He had no home address. By every metric of the society we live in, I was the success and Robert was the failure. I was the good son. He was the black sheep. But Robert died 2 years ago. And as I sit here in my expensive chair, in my paid-off house, looking at his handwriting, I realize something that terrifies me. He died a billionaire. I am the one who is bankrupt. To understand why, you have to understand the house we grew up in. Our father, Frank, was a steel worker in Pittsburgh. He was a man who believed that fear was the only fuel that kept a man running. He believed that life was a war, and money was your ammunition. I bought into that war. I became his soldier. I studied hard. I got the grades. I became the structural engineer. I built the skyscrapers. I did everything to ensure that I would never, ever be vulnerable. Robert saw the war and decided to desert. He dropped out of high school. While I was pulling all-nighters at Cornell to get my degree, Robert was hitchhiking across South America. While I was stressing about my first promotion, Robert was working as a bartender in Key West, living on a boat, wearing nothing but swim trunks and a grin. For 40 years, I judged him. I remember family holidays. I would drive up in my new Mercedes, wearing a tailored Italian suit. Robert would arrive in a beat-up van, smelling like campfire smoke and cheap tobacco. My father would look at me with pride. He would look at Robert with disdain. And God forgive me, I looked at him with pity. I would pull him aside and say, "Robert, when are you going to grow up? You have no pension. You have no security. What happens when you get old?" Robert would just laugh. He had this deep, rumbling laugh that filled the room, a sound I couldn't replicate if I tried. He would clap me on the shoulder and say, "Tom, you're so busy building the ceiling that you've forgotten to look at the sky." I thought he was naive. I thought he was lazy. I told myself, I am the responsible one. I am the one carrying the weight of the family name. I secretly congratulated myself for being superior. But there was a darker truth underneath my judgment, a truth I never admitted until today. I wasn't just judging him. I was jealous of him. Every time he sent me a postcard, from a vineyard in Italy, from a temple in Thailand, from a beach in Brazil, I felt a pang in my chest. I was sitting in a fluorescent-lit office, 60 floors up, looking at spreadsheets. He was down there, in the world, tasting the air. I comforted myself with the great lie of the middle class. I am suffering now so I can be happy later. Robert is happy now, but he will suffer later. I thought the bill would eventually come due for him. I thought he would come crawling to me for help. And then the bill did come due, but not in the way I expected. 2 years ago, Robert called me. He wasn't in a vineyard or on a beach. He was in a doctor's office. He had stage 4 lung cancer. The irresponsible life, the cigarettes, the sun, the cheap whiskey, had caught up with him. I remember hanging up the phone and feeling a strange, cold mixture of grief and vindication. I thought, this is it. This is the moment where my way of life wins. This is why I saved the money. This is why I built the fortress. I was about to save him, or so I thought. I didn't know that I was about to learn the most expensive lesson of my life. When Robert told me the diagnosis, my engineer brain instantly kicked into gear. Problem, cancer. Solution, capital. I didn't cry. I calculated. I told him, "Don't move, I'm coming." I flew him to New York. I used my connections. I got him an appointment with the best oncologist in the city. I arranged a private suite in the hospital. I stood in that sterile white room, waving my checkbook like a magic wand. I told the doctors, "Spare no expense. I want the best treatment. I want to buy him time." I looked at Robert, who was sitting on the edge of the hospital bed, looking pale and thin. He looked like a trapped bird. I said, "Don't worry, Bobby. I've got this. This is what the money is for. I'm going to fix you." The doctors gave us the timeline. With aggressive treatment, chemo, radiation, surgery, he might have 18 months, maybe 2 years. Without treatment, 6 months. To me, the choice was obvious. It was a math equation. 24 months is greater than 6 months. You take the deal. You fight for every second. I started filling out the admission forms. I was already planning his schedule. Then, Robert put his hand on my pen. His hand was rough, calloused from years of working odd jobs. My hand was soft, manicured from years of holding pens. He pushed the pen down. "No, Tom," he said. I looked at him like he was insane. "What do you mean, no? We have the money. We can fight this." He looked around the room. He looked at the machines that went beep, beep, beep. He looked at the view of the gray city skyline outside the window. "I don't want to spend my last 2 years fighting to stay in a room like this," he said. "I don't want to be a patient. I want to be Robert." I was furious. I shouted at him. I told him he was being selfish. I told him he was giving up. "I worked for 40 years to be able to afford this for you," I yelled. "How dare you reject it?" He just smiled, that same infuriating, peaceful smile. "Tom," he said, "you're trying to buy time, but time isn't a commodity. It's an experience. I'd rather have 6 months of sunsets than 2 years of fluorescent lights." He checked himself out of the hospital that afternoon. He refused the fight. Instead, he took the little money he had left and he bought a one-way ticket to a small fishing village in Mexico. He rented a tiny hut on the beach. No electricity, no running water, just a hammock in the ocean. I stayed in New York. I was seething. I felt rejected. I felt like my entire life's philosophy, that safety is the ultimate goal, was being insulted. For 5 months, I barely spoke to him. I sat in my mansion, checking my stocks while he was dying in a hut. I told myself I was right. I told myself he was a fool who was throwing his life away. But then the updates started coming, not from him, but from the people he met. Photos of him playing guitar by a bonfire. Photos of him fishing with the locals. He looked thin, yes, he looked tired, but his eyes were blazing. In the 5th month, I couldn't take it anymore. The engineer in me needed to see the collapse of the structure. I needed to see that I was right to choose safety. So I flew to Mexico. I rented a car and drove down dusty roads to find him. I expected to find a man in misery. I expected to find a man full of regret, wishing he had chosen the hospital bed. I walked up to his hut as the sun was setting. The sky was bleeding purple and orange. The sound of the waves was hypnotic. Robert was sitting on the porch in a rocking chair, wrapped in a blanket. He saw me. He didn't look like a dying man. He looked like a king who was done ruling. That night, sitting on that porch, drinking cheap tequila out of tin cups, he said the sentence that dismantled my entire life. The air in Mexico was warm. The ocean was loud. I sat next to my dying brother, feeling awkward in my stiff travel clothes. I looked at his hands, shaking, thin, but holding the cup steadily. "Are you scared?" I asked him. It was the first honest question I had asked him in decades. He looked at the horizon. "No," he said, "I'm not scared. I'm full." "Full?" I asked. He turned to me. His eyes were milky with the sickness, but they pierced right through me. "Tom," he said, "imagine life is a piggy bank, but you don't put coins in it. You put memories in it." He pointed to his chest. "I'm 65 years old. I don't have a portfolio. I don't have a legacy. But man, my piggy bank, it's overflowing. It's so full, I can't fit another sunset in it. I've cracked it open, and I'm counting the coins now. The time I danced in Havana. The time I fell in love in Paris. The sunrise I saw from a mountain in Peru." He took a breath, his lungs rattling. "I'm leaving this party early, Tom, but I drank all the wine. I ate all the cake. I danced until my feet hurt." Then he looked at me. And for the first time in my life, I saw pity in his eyes. Pity for me. But you, he said gently, you have millions in the bank, Tom, but your memory piggy bank, it's empty. You've been saving the jar for a rainy day, but you never put anything inside it. You are going to live to be 85. You have 10 more years than me, but I have lived 100 years more than you. He died that night. He didn't die screaming. He didn't die in pain. He died in his sleep with the sound of the ocean in his ears and a smile on his face. Robert won. I flew back to New York. I went back to my penthouse. I looked at my furniture. I looked at my awards. I looked at this bank statement. And I realized they were just receipts for a life I never purchased. I had traded my time for security, but security is just a waiting room for death. I had spent 74 years sitting in the waiting room, reading magazines, waiting for my name to be called, while Robert was out there living. I cannot get those years back. I cannot go back and backpack through Europe with him. I cannot go back and drink that cheap wine. My piggy bank is light. It rattles when I shake it. But you, if you are watching this, you still have time to make a deposit. Don't let them fool you. They tell you to save for the future. They tell you to work hard now so you can relax later. That is a scam. The future is not guaranteed. Robert taught me that. If you have a choice between buying a new car or taking a trip with your brother, take the trip. If you have a choice between working overtime or watching the sunset, watch the sunset. Fill the bank. Not the one at Chase or Wells Fargo, the one in your head, the one in your heart. Because when the end comes, and it will come for all of us, your portfolio won't comfort you. Your title won't hold your hand. Only the memories you made will be there to keep you company in the dark. My brother Robert died poor, but he was the richest man I ever knew. I'm Thomas, and I'm starting to fill my bank today. It's late, but it's not empty yet.